Yes, sir. You just found it. Intercourse with you. Let's chat.
Welcome to the Intercourse Show. I am your host, Mr. B. Today we have a very interesting reaction video for you. Normally we are kidding and we enjoy ourselves. We talk about relationships. We have lighthearted conversations about a number of topics, whether it be Jada Pinkett and her situation, or Ciara and her situation, or just the state of relationships as a whole. Today we're going to do something a little differently because we are pretty well-rounded around here, right? We'd like to have discussions that really matter to people, and we like to approach those discussions in a lighthearted manner. So to do so, I have enlisted the help of one of the best, most comedic men out there who really kind of puts a light twist on serious things going on in the world. We are going to react today to Russell Brand video where he talks about what's going on in the world. A lot of us are so caught in our own lives. We're stuck in what's happening in Hollywood and who's sleeping with who and who's doing what, that we don't even realize the craziness going on around us in terms of the political affairs, in terms of how the world is actually conducting itself, the issues that lies in various parts of the world, and how that may ultimately end up affecting us. So I think this is a good way to keep people informed, to keep people aware of what's going on, but also not to take, the life out of the room. It's a good way for us to kind of be up to speed with what's happening in the world, but also to know that there's things that could be done about it. We could pray, we could certainly use our voice and use our influence to hopefully change the direction that our country and other things are going. So I am hopefully doing this video to enlighten you all, and I ask for those who are new to the channel to like and subscribe to our channel so that we can keep you informed and keep you entertained with our content. Again, you should be able to see the subscribe button on the bottom there. Just click on it, like and subscribe and share, and join the conversation as well as the community. Without any further ado, let's go ahead and get into the video.
Wonders, thanks for joining us on our mutual voyage to truth and freedom that we must undertake together, that we may surely awaken and confront the terrible truths that are around us. Terrible truths that Joe Biden seems to be holding back from explaining, like if you keep provoking Vladimir Putin, you can't be sure that at some point he might not send a nuclear missile to, I don't know, the United Kingdom, Germany. Content every single day. Become an awakened wonder. Join us for the movement in the right direction, the only direction we can possibly head in now. This is a fully immersive omni-crisis, and you really don't have any choice, but we're going to offer you that option anyway, because, democracy and individual freedom and all that kind of stuff. Thank you for taking this all on board, but more important than any of that is, if you can, please stay free.
Okay, there you have it. That was the video by Russell Brand. Lots to unpack in that video. And I think he used a lot of humor really to discuss some pretty serious issues. You have a government that is telling you stories that doesn't ever seem to align with the truth. So, I think you as a consumer have to, of that information, you have to be able to parse it, and you have to be able to make sense of what is true and what isn't true. And you have to come to that conclusion on your own. I would subscribe to the Bible because it spells all of this out. It tells you exactly what to expect from, the people who are in charge and from the times that we are in. For those who may feel lost, without hope, I would point you to the Bible, and I would ask that you put your faith and your trust in Jesus Christ and in God, because that's where I'm putting mine. But for those who have yet to make that decision, I would ask you to continue to stay tuned and just to be kept in the loop about what's going on, and hopefully to have a change of heart about how to, to approach these things. There is a lot of things here that was said that I think needs to be discussed, right? One, why is there an insatiable need for war? Why does it seem like our government is supporting war, right? Everywhere. We want to go into war into Ukraine between Russia. And that's the other major power because they have the most nuclear weapons. Why are we picking a fight with those guys, right? Same thing. Why are we standing behind Israel and Hamas while they're provoking the Middle East into a bigger war, right? Yes, Hamas attacked them, and Hamas was wrong for attacking them. Yes, Israel should have responded, but the extent by which Israel has responded, the continuous bombing of over 20-something days, only seems to exacerbate the situation and make it worse. So why are we literally with warships on their shores defending them while they continue to bomb and bomb and bomb and invoke more and more fury from those Middle Eastern neighbors who ultimately will want to take revenge against them? Why would we get ourselves involved in that? Doesn't make sense. Why would we continue to pick fights, not just with them, but also with China? There's issues there in the Philippines with disputed waters, and now we're sending more troops there. So on virtually every corner of the earth, there seems to be some conflict brewing. Why would we continue to get involved in the affairs of Africa and things that's going on there? There's a lot of things that's going on that we really should not be involved in. For some reason, we happen to love that conflict. Another thing to consider is the fact that a lot of these defense contractors make a lot of money whenever there's wars around the country. So on the flip side, if you're an investor, probably a good stock to have some sort of defense contract in your portfolio, because it's surely going to make you money as there's a lot of conflict. But on the flip side, on the humanity side, maybe it might not be wise for us to get ourselves involved in a conflict, because what does it ultimately mean? That our loved ones will have to be shipped out to go fight those conflicts at various points in various neighborhoods throughout the world. And that means lost lives. That means, more taxes to be able to fund these wars. That means, just more strain on our economy. And we're already somewhat divided with the number of things, whether it be race or whether it be any other thing that you want to pick. Our various factions of our government don't get along. There's political sort of issues going on between the various parties. We're not united, and we're getting ourselves in wars throughout the world while we're not even united here at home. It just doesn't make sense. But in the meanwhile, while the threat of existential war from nuclear warheads throughout the world seems to be of concern for some, it does not seem to be the main concern of the leaders in our government, because they think climate changes. They think the changing of the weather is more of a threat than the fact that us provoking wars may ultimately wipe us off the face of the earth or kill us through wars, right? So, I mean, this is what's a little humorous about what Russell Brand was saying in his commentary, is that all these things are things that would indicate that you can't take virtually anything you're seeing seriously. And, while we like to have fun and enjoy and kind of zone out from these serious things that's happening in the world, it is important to be informed about them, because they will ultimately have an effect on us directly or indirectly. Indirectly because you get taxed more, indirectly because they may be a draft, as the US is having a hard time recruiting people to go into volunteer to go to war, indirectly because you may have a loved one, a friend, or family members who are enlisted in the army who may get deployed to these locations, indirectly because our economy is already strained and it's just going to make things more costly, like our oil that went from, I think it was like less than $2 when Trump was in office to now it's $5 and above in various places and continuing to climb. And we seem to be picking fights with all the oil producing countries of the world, Russia being the second or third highest provider of oil. Then we blow up their pipeline. There's issues there. Then now we're picking fights with the Middle Eastern countries, where they are also high producers of oil, as there are probably 7, if not more, members of OPEC who control the price of oil, who control the flow of oil. And now we're somehow, some way in a conflict where we're standing behind a country that is blowing up, Palestine, people that they feel connected to. And then we're asking them not to get offended, as if that's not going to have an effect on us here. And then on top of it, we have a very divided government already. So in some way, somehow it's going to affect, whether it's food prices, whether it's the cost of living, whether it's taxes, whether it's the loss of lives and loved ones. These things affect us. And it's naive of us to believe that just because we choose to zone out, just because we choose not to take account of these things that is happening around us, just because we choose not to open our eyes, that somehow, some way, these things aren't happening. They are happening. And if there's anything you can do, certainly you can be aware of what's happening, and you can keep that in mind as you approach the polls in coming months and coming years. You should keep that in mind as you decide, where and how this country is moving and what direction is moving. You should keep that in mind as you approach dealing with your friends and your loved ones, because to be divided is not what's needed in this moment. We need to be united, and we need to ensure that we at least are planning strategically in the event that things do go left, that there's some sort of contingency plan for you and your family, for you and your loved ones, so that you can plan accordingly for what may come. Now, all of this stuff is prophesied in the Bible. For those who haven't read, go to Revelations. It tells you everything you need to know. I would suggest certainly revisiting your relationship with God, especially your walk with Jesus Christ. I would suggest definitely getting saved. I would suggest being informed. I would suggest mending your differences with people and just putting things into proper perspective, right? Life is so much more than the petty arguments and the petty fights we find ourselves in. So let's find a way to communicate. Let's find a way to get along, and let's find a way to get involved so that we don't jump off the cliff. With that, it is yours truly, Mr. B, signing off. Thank you for your time. And if you're not connected, please like and subscribe to our page and stay connected to this conversation and others. Have a blessed one.